Espresso, it's tiny, but it packs a punch. Whether you are sipping it straight or using it as a base for your favorite latte, learning how to make espresso is a total game changer. If you ever wonder how to get started, you are in the right place. In this video, we are diving into espresso basics, the gear, the technique, and the tips you need to brew like a pro. Let's get started. Okay, so what exactly is espresso? It's a method of brewing coffee by forcing hot water through finely ground beans at high pressure. The result? A concentrate, flavorful shot of liquid gold. But let's clear up common misconception. Espresso is not a specific type of bean or roast. Any coffee bean can become espresso. What matters is the way you brew it. That said, darker roasts are more popular because they give you that bold chocolate flavors that shine in small doses. But also light roasted coffee can make a good espresso. That depends on your taste preference. Another cool thing about espresso is the foundation for some of your favorite coffee drinks. Think about lattes, cappuccinos, americanos, and that list goes on. Once you master this little shot, a whole world of coffee opens up. Now let's talk about tools. Making espresso requires some equipment, and this is what you need. First of all, an espresso machine, of course. This is a star of the show. What you need is a machine that can generate at least 9 bars of pressure. That is essential for a true espresso extraction. Then, second, you need a grinder, and here some people say that the grinder is the most important tool in coffee making. And that's true. And also espresso is all about precision. So you need a burr grinder that gives you consistent grounds, which is the key. Avoid blade grinders because they are very inconsistent. Then you need a good quality coffee beans, and here aim for coffee beans roasted within the past 2-3 weeks. It's usually from that period that the coffee starts to give the best for producing a tasty espresso. Then you need a scale because precision matters. Measuring your ground coffee and the coffee beverage ensures consistency in every shot. Another important tool you need is a timer, because timing is crucial when pulling a shot of espresso. That determines the contact time in between coffee and water, and also it can tell you if you're grinding too coarse or if you're grinding too fine. So a simple timer or even your phone can help you to nail your espresso every time. And finally, you need a tamper, and you need it to compress the grounds for even extraction. Quick tip, I always suggest storing your beans in an airtight container, away from heat and light. If you have a vacuum container, even better, because that will keep the coffee away from oxygen, and this will keep your beans fresh for longer. And also grind your beans right before brewing your espresso. That will make a huge difference. Espresso is all about balance, and there are 4 key factors that you need to get just right. The first one is the grind size. Think of your grind as the backbone of your espresso. It should be fine like powdered sugar, but not so fine that the water struggles to pass through. Too coarse and your espresso could taste weak and sour. Too fine and your espresso could taste bitter and over-extracted. The second important factor is the coffee to water ratio. Usually the standard ratio is 1:2, so for every grams of ground coffee, aim for 2 grams of coffee beverage. For example, if you are using 18 grams of coffee, your final beverage should weigh 36 grams. And here is when you use a scale to measure the coffee that you put in and the liquid that comes out. That's a total game changer. The third important factor is the extraction time. This is where timing comes in. A well-pulled shot of espresso on average should take about 25 to 30 seconds. That is not always the case, but we will see that in the future. But usually, if it's too fast, your grind might be too coarser. If it's too slow, your grind might be too finer. A timer is super helpful when you're starting out. The last key factor is the water temperature. The water temperature for espresso, it should be in between 90 to 96 degrees Celsius, and that should be in between 195 and 205 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything hotter and you risk to have an over-extracted coffee. Anything cooler and you risk to have an under-extracted coffee. Most espresso machines control the temperature for you, but it's good to know. Okay, now let's put it all together. Here is how to pull a good shot of espresso step by step. First of all, dose the right amount of coffee for your basket. For example, for an 18 grams basket, you should fit 18 grams of coffee. Something more or something less. That can depend on the roasting level of your coffee, but we will see that in the future. Second, distribute your grounds evenly. This helps avoiding channeling and uneven extraction, which can ruin your shot. You can use your hands or some specific tools that can help you with this step. Then, tamp the grounds evenly. It's important to give a uniform pressure. You don't need to overdo it, just to make a level. Then, lock the portafilter into your machine and hit brew. Finally, watch the magic happen. You're looking for a golden, honey-like stream that flows steadily. And there you have it, a perfect pull shot of espresso with that beautiful crema on top. Now let's talk about some hiccups most beginners face and also how to avoid them. Using stale beans. Coffee that passed its prime time will taste flat. Always go for fresh beans. Also, pre-ground coffee gets stale faster. Skipping the scale, guessing your dose in and your dose out, that's a recipe for inconsistency. Dirty equipment, keep your espresso machine and your coffee grinder always clean, because old coffee oils and grounds can seriously mess with flavor. And finally, rushing the process. Take your time to dial in your grind and get familiar with your machine. Practice makes perfect. Don't be afraid to experiment. Adjust your grind size. Try different beans and play with the coffee to water ratio until you find what works for you. And here is a tip: keep a notebook handy to jot down what you tried and how it tasted. This helps you learn faster. Once you've mastered the shot, the fun really begins. Try making some of the classic espresso-based drink. Like a latte, add steamed milk and a thin layer of foam. A cappuccino, equal part espresso, milk and foam. A flat white, similar to a latte but with a higher coffee to milk ratio. And the Americano, just add hot water to your espresso shot for a lighter and longer drink. And that's it, Espresso Basic 101 done. With a little practice and the right tools, you will be pulling perfect shots in no time. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in my next videos, and in the meantime, I wish you a wonderful day and delicious coffee. Ciao!